Yeah, we can. It's nothing official, but it'll be like really exciting to talk about.
Nice to see you, Travis.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, but you look like you're
Yeah,
in the forest. You're
yes.
amongst the trees. You look
Look,
good with the green in the background.
yeah, I'm in Virginia. It is just gorgeous this
Wow,
time of year.
wow.
So Dali, let's talk about SD alt tokens.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, originally when we first started, we said that SD is live, like it's you can use SD
Yeah, so
structured data.
it seems that you can. So basically, if you authenticate with code, you can also hit the you could hit the code to put some structured data. So that's in the I could check right now, but it's in either the Safecore library or in the routing library. And uh, and so basically you can literally build the structured data, put it to the network, and you own it.
Well, here's something that I was thinking about that's really trippy. If structured data is live, at least in in some form, and the SafeCoin is not implemented yet, so we can't pay for puts, doesn't that mean we can kind of sort of make our alt tokens for free?
Yeah, that's right. So that's totally right. And somebody actually they made a some program that that makes structured data random bytes, random bits,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
puts them to the network. So they were trying to crash the network, but I think they get a disconnection problem. Like maybe because they keep trying over and over again. So then it
yeah,
says, wait a minute, you're disconnected or something
yeah.
like that. So
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 they failed.
yeah, so they couldn't finish that because probably their bandwidth is limited, and maybe if a lot of us participated together, we could crash the network. But it's not. I don't think it's very productive. I think it's productive, but I don't think it's that productive to like, hey everybody, let's crash the safe network. I think it'll be productive to do that once we have vaults.
Yeah.
And then if we remember how much of this structured data we started pouring into the network, we can see like, okay, we all devoted XYZ amount of resources, we all put XYZ amount of data in there, blew it up, and this is how long it took in. And this is how many computers we had or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, in that case, yeah. But you're right. We can put these altcoins there, and yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm laughing like an evil genius.
So, will there be cost in at least mining it, from what I gathered, if going the Seneca route? Are there alternatives to what he's described with mining, at least
Yeah, I
enough
mean,
to where the difficulty isn't worth mining more for cross-sell tokens and whatnot?
yeah. So from the beginning, when we were talking about SafeX, building SafeX, from the beginning, we're dealing with structured data, we're dealing with altcoins, we're dealing with assets, and all that stuff. You don't need proof of work to make an altcoin, like plain and simple. The reason for proof of work altcoin is a different kind of altcoin. It's a proof of work altcoin, right? So instead of like you put in the information, you know how an OmniCoin works, right, Travis? In terms of how you make
Yeah,
one?
as far as like a side chain,
No, no,
did
no.
they do
So
an initial Bitcoin?
yeah, so in an OmniCoin, you just put a name, a quantity, and then they put that into the Bitcoin blockchain. And then a program reads that segment and says, okay, it's the name of the coin, the quantity of the coin, and then the Bitcoin address that owns it. Simple, right? It's the same thing with an altcoin on the Safe network. It's just the name of the coin, the quantity, and the owner of that coin. And boom, you have an altcoin.
So
Congratulations, you know. But if in the event that
you have
you
to charge network costs?
and put cost, obviously.
Yeah, every altcoin that's structured data on the safe network will cost a put cost.
Yeah.
And the more coins obviously you make, the higher the cost is, because
But
each
not even
structured
that.
data has a cost.
Not even that because divisibility is just an obvious metric. I mean, divisibility is just plain and simple. It's been outlined since 2.5 years ago. So just putting that out there, you know what I mean? Like, these are novelties, but they're happening. They're real, right? So proof of work altcoins, you can mine them and then provably own them and say, I've created this altcoin with that algorithm, and other people will say, yeah, he made that altcoin and did proof of work to get it. Whereas if you made your coin, if you made your SafeCrypt coin with a structured data using SafeX, it's pretty much the pre-mine. You don't have to do any mining to get them. So it makes sense to use proof of work if you need some kind of timed or some kind of
He's trying to distribute.
exactly. If you're trying to do them that way, then if you want to have some throttling, like you want to have maximum, like, I mean, even there's no maximum. There's a maximum how many you can have, but imagine someone put all their mining rigs on it and they mined all the coins in 1 second, you know? So it's like, I'm not so sure. But proof of resource coins, that's a different story. Like, put content, you get some coin, like Tim is doing with N99. It's pretty much a proof of resource coin, where you put content, and in exchange you get a seed. You see what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, there's different ways to do this, and proof of work is one
Well,
way.
that's the craziest part, and the most amazing part is we can have so many different kinds of alt
Yeah,
tokens that function each differently,
yeah,
that they're created in a different way, that they are used in a different way, and that's like 100 times better than a blockchain altcoin.
man,
We
it's
we're gonna kill the
way
market in
better.
altcoins.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all.
from a crowd sell standpoint, I can't be happier. It seems that's the
Exactly.
direction we're going, and we're on the edge of having a system that will just exponentially make it easier and better on both ends, both the developers and the investors, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might remember the post I made about CrowdFound Hub. It's kind of
Yeah.
like an angel list. And I really did. I went to the future of tech and money or something like that, not long ago in San Francisco. And there's all these big names and like bankers and like the Federal Reserve banker was there and stuff. And someone from Angel List was there. I said, why don't you guys have an altcoin on Angel List so when I make a company there, I can get investment and automatically issue a security. They said they've looked into that, but they have legal hurdles that they don't feel like taking up with. Like they don't feel like figuring it out. You see what I mean? So I think if you made that,
Hey, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah,
That's their loss.
yeah. I
Thank
think
you.
they got like $500 million in commitments from some Chinese investor, and so sincerely, like, yeah, like maybe they make good decisions, and that's important, but their platform is like not conducive, I think, to startups. Like you have to already be a angel co-founded person. Like you need to know people in there. You can't just say, here's all the intelligence you need to know about my project, about me, and the capabilities I have, and here's my asset, and you can buy it. That will change the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Forgive me. I just remembered that I gotta go to a call right now. I
Okay.
forgot about it. So I'll come back in like half an hour. But I hate when this happens.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
It's good seeing you,
Life
Daniel.
happens.
You look good. Keep up the hard work. I know you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. See you guys. See you guys in a few. See you guys in a few.
All right, Dally.
Gosh. See you guys later.
So Tim,
Yeah,
tell,
cool.
tell me about your seeds ideas, and I was kind of wondering, like,
Hmm.
how is it distributed? I know that you are gonna sell like did you still intend on selling like 99,999,000, or
Uh,
did you plan to do the faucet instead?
the faucet's going to be coming, so it won't be exactly 999, but I will be releasing more of the. I really don't want to give too much of this until I sort of put the details out. When I put that out, well, that's what I'm saying. Within the next week is going to be. I don't want to sort of like say too much, but regards to regards to distribution,
Yeah.
in the sense of yeah, I think I mean, I'm aiming to sort of put 90% of the seeds out for sale for distribution. So, and the aim is to get it as widely distributed as far and as wide as possible.
Now,
Okay.
Tim, have you considered flipping that completely around? Where, because it seems like for N99, the real value is going to be in the content contributors. That's what's going to build the network and build the technology. And so, where a project where you're looking for all the value to be added early on, is the value is going to be added later. Is there a way to set that up where 99% will be distributed from the network to the content contributors?
Content contributors in, for instance, if I put let's just do it for a musician basis. I'm a musician. I put a track down. Well, as you know, and we've discussed this, and I don't go over old wars, but I've flown the flag for, and I think the idea we've spoken about many times is pay the producer, which in essence means that the safe network itself will pay for as we know, for people for putting content up. N99 is there to reward in every way possible people putting content up. So we know that N99, the whole concept from day one has been basically has been a platform or a launch pad for people to put their content on, because in essence, I mean, the essence of the whole safe network is anybody can put content up and they will get, if it's mined enough, will get rewarded for that content. The idea of building a platform is to congregate and build a network up so that they can get more chances of getting played. And then there's other ways and means, which I don't really want to go into this conversation now, where seeds will also reward people, the content producers, and when they put content up as well.
Yeah, good enough. I mean, we don't have to dig into details because obviously it's still being thought out and being, sorted out. But it's cool just that we're on that path, because now that uh, I'm looking at how alt tokens are going to be created and how easy it is to do. Like if you were to build altcoin on the Omni protocol, you first have to pay 1 Bitcoin just to create the new kind of token, and then you have to, when you transact that token, you have to pay the Bitcoin transaction fee plus the Omni protocol transaction fee. So it's like 3 fees. But when we do alt tokens, SD
Every
alt tokens,
transaction.
what is that, Travis?
Yeah, it's every transaction, and there's a cost to all the participators.
Yeah, and so when we do SD alt tokens on the Safe network, there's only one cost, and that's the put cost, and that should be insanely cheap. Like not even like $10 less. Because right now 1 Bitcoin is what, $430. So yeah, that's the bare minimum you need just to start an altcoin. And so a lot of people that are that don't have that, because that's why they're making their business, they can go onto the Safe network for far cheaper, and the transaction cost for everybody is also a huge advantage. I think that we're gonna, if it works well, we're probably gonna kill the altcoin market or dominate it, one or the other.
Just change it.
Yeah, for the better.
And it's just, I use the Omni wallet, and it's great. I mean, it is phenomenal for what it's been for the last couple of years. There's just still too much friction. I've tried to bring some of my other friends that are interested in investing, but they haven't been in the community for a couple of years and don't know the ins and outs, and it's just too hard for them, and it's just security risk.
Well, I think that one of the biggest problems, even recently on our forum, is that because it is a side layer or a layer on top of the blockchain, so many people have their alt tokens lost. when they are using exchange addresses, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again. When the MateSafe crowd cell, this is way back, I was doing tech support trying to help people find their coins and like find out what happened, and a lot of them just couldn't even understand the Bitcoin wallet and how the private keys work. And there was just like a huge obstacle. It's like a barrier to entry just for simple understanding. And if it's not simple to understand, it's not easy to use, then it's not as useful to people that
Yeah.
really can't grasp all the technical aspects of it.
Well, I know even myself, as long as I've been in the community and worked with, the different altcoins and stuff, I've lost 11,000 storage tokens, and
Yeah.
counterparty's wallet has a bug in it where it'll reset the addresses. Like, I still own that address, I have the private key for it, but now I have to go through and mine and try to find that address that has all of my tokens in it. It's just, and I tried a couple of times, and I searched through 2,000 addresses associated with my private key, and I still haven't found the one that has 11,000 stores in it.
You guys want to hear a really crazy idea? Here goes David with his craziness. Okay, imagine this. Since it is possible to send MadeSafe coin, which is on the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, and convert it into SafeCoin, so you go from MadeCoin to SafeCoin onto the Safe network. What if we make the ability for people to convert Dashcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum coin, and put it into the Safe network where it transacts with no transactions. It won't be associated to the blockchain anymore. It'll be a conversion, saying, "Oh, this is the new and improved Dashcoin that transacts that it just because all SD tokens on the Safe network transact at the same speed as SafeCoin."
Yeah, so instead of Lightning Network, I guess we could call it, the Thunder Network?
Now, I'm not suggesting that will be done, but I'm just saying I'm thinking about it, and it just makes sense that if we can switch over Madecoin that's on the blockchain into SafeCoin, I'm pretty sure somebody might say, hey, I want to create the alternative Dashcoin. I want to create the alternative Dogecoin or the alternative, because if they really want the better, it's kind of like, oh, the new and improved cryptocurrency. So it's really blockchain versus ant tech. So the ant techs, if we prove that we're more secure, anonymous, faster, and you just switch over, saying, okay, like their community would say, okay, here's the burn address for Dogecoin, for example, and they say, well, I want my Dogecoin to move faster. Okay, so the community agreed that they're going to create an alternative on the Safe network and say, let's just convert. And so you send it to that burn address, and then that converts it, and it generates your Dogecoin on the Safe network. And I'm just like, holy cow, that's going to be...
I guess there isn't a system where it's two-way. It's going to be a one-way street.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's just the same way we convert MadeCoin, coin into SafeCoin.
It would be fascinating if we could go both ways, because then that could be, because there are some benefits to the blockchain, just because it's easier for people to understand kind of the process. It's a good bridge. And, they talk about the Lightning Network and all these others. I mean, it could work the same way if it was a two-way street.
I'm thinking about why people would want to switch over, because it's like taking what they already have. I already have, this asset. I already have cryptocurrency, and I don't really want to just throw it away. So if there was a way for me to convert it to the new and improved system, that would be something to think about. And like I said, they would get their cryptocurrency and remove the fees, essentially. They'd end up getting it, the fees, the transaction fees. And it's like, why would you want to go from a horse to a car and then say, oh, I like the horse because he's cuddly and nice, but darn, I just can't let go of my car's usefulness.
Yeah, I still ride a horse here and there for fun.
Exactly.
Roll.
That'll be
Yeah.
it's kind of like what do you call that? It's non-mainstream stuff. It's just stuff that they use for fun.
For nostalgia.
Yeah. But that's just a crazy
Well,
idea, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just kind of putting it out there.
No, I think the essence of all this, and it sort of links to this whole conversation, whether it's alt tokens or any kind, whether anyone wants to call them, it's something that we discussed before, David. They're all about basically what their value is and how people value them, and this is a great thing about the times we live in, where people can just have, like I say, put an altcoin up or whatever it may be, and say, okay, its value will be on how many people use it, and then people will support it because they support the person who's putting the coin up or the project it's building. And I think sometimes it's, we spoke about this before, sometimes we can, it's the old analogy, you can not see the wood for the trees, and I think sometimes people want to overcomplicate things and they look into it, and it's all we're in essence trying to do is give people a ability to where they can interact with a product, and that's the great thing about altcoins. It gives you the ability to interact, say, with Decorum. Seeds will give you the ability to interact with N99, and that's what it's all about. And then the rest of it, as you just said before, it just comes down to, like we discussed that time, we discussed this in a previous podcast. When you're on the beach, or in the middle of nowhere, your resources, what you have in your hand, what somebody else wants, is only what they require at that time. And that's what I love about altcoins. It's the popularity or how they go is completely in the open. That's what I think is very great about the Safe Network, this live decentralized database where this can all be done in real time, in real life, with no middlemen, and we can see. And that's there'll be winners and there will be losers. That is life itself.
Yeah, you tapped into exactly what makes currency valuable, and that is the people's resources that are behind it. A lot of people that start up new currencies think, oh, if I have this limited number, and it'll be valuable, or oh, if I have this kind of functionality of the currency, like this currency transacts this way and it's secured this way. But it's not the currency itself. It is the people behind it that make the currency valuable.
It's both.
And I've always said, it is not about it's not about what it can buy, it's about how much it can buy. How many goods and services the currency is chasing is what puts the demand into the currency. So if the structured data altcoins start chasing things, that means SafeCoin itself will start chasing things, because you need SafeCoin to create the structured data tokens in the first place. And like I was saying, if you take a simple model that everyone's using and you make it better, it's just like what we were talking about, the flip phones versus the smartphones. I finally saw the usefulness in smartphones because it did something better, and that's why I switched over. And I think if it's stupid simple, then people will just instantly see it as useful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have, in fact, it should not be complicated at all. And I think that MateSafe is going the route of making it stupid simple.
Exactly.
Here.
Well,
Exactly. The point I'm trying to make is, and we were saying this earlier on, is that that's one of the inspiring things about particularly MateSafe, and it always has been for me, is that because of this essence of it being a live decentralized database, it gives anybody the ability to come up with and like we were just discussing there, like an altcoin or something, and put your idea into the commonwealth of human knowledge and see how it goes. And that's a great thing. It's one of the really, really inspiring things of we were discussing this in part one. We were saying that, when the internet was promised to us back in the early 90s, I'm old enough to think, and I thought, oh, okay, we're going to get this then. But then the control came in, and middlemen and central servers, and we've got to where we are now. It's taken MaidSafe and people like David Owen all these years to get to the point of going, here we go, there's a live decentralized database which is basically a reflection of nature. And that is very inspiring because, as you just said, David, and we're just discussing, it means anybody, if they have something in it, they can offer it to the humanity of us around us and see how it flies in a completely free market, for want of a better word, essence, where there is no middleman. There is nobody, like you said, nobody sort of demanding, like we were just discussing about certain trading floors or to change your money, you've got to go through this and that. Just make it as all the barriers as way as possible. And then when you do that, you come up with a live decentralized database. This is where we are right now. And that's why I think it's very inspiring to anybody, whether you're from the arts, whether you're a shoemaker, whether you're a programmer, or whether you're a musician. This is that's what we were just, where we are right now. These are the greatest days to live in because, as we just saying, we're very, very, very close to the child in essence, as you like to describe. Not only is the child being born, it's out and it's just starting to blink its eyes, and we're at a very, great days to live in. How you doing, John? I'm sorry, you've been sat there very quietly. How you doing, John?
Oh, that's fun. Welcome. I had a little trouble with the link I got by email, then I went to the website and the forum and got this link. So, cheers, I made it. What did I miss?
I have the same problem, John.
Yeah, the email
links
you
don't
sent
work.
out by email didn't work.
But
okay, well,
if you go to the Google page to your Google Plus and look for the notice from there, it works.
I didn't
It's
get
funny, but we both
that
had the
either.
same problem.
I can't figure out. Oh, Google Plus, maybe that's what I don't use Google Plus especially. I just have the Hangouts link, and I can never find anything through Hangouts that way. Anyway, it's remarkable how confused this all makes me sometimes.
Yet more reasons why the safe network is the answer to everything, because no more of these complications.
There's all sorts of interesting stuff afoot, but yeah, I'm counting on the team making it pretty simple. It looks like it. Even I can understand some of it.
Well, while you're here, John, and we'll be discussing in part A of this, and then obviously part of this as well, we were discussing just roughly around crowd sort of funding and stuff, and just generally what's going on. And seeing you've done a lot of work with sort of around it, and you're probably the best person to talk to. Tell us, to people listening who maybe not have listened to this for a few weeks, tell us about Project Decorium, because that's just been wow. That's all I can say. Wow. I think you should.
I'm impressed.
Enlighten us more.
I'm impressed. I've done a couple interviews with Harmon, and we've talked behind the scenes because he's had questions, wanted my input, and vice versa. And hopefully I'll get something out of it. But we're getting accused on the forum of you mods are conspiracy. Anyway. Anyway, so yes, I'm not officially. I don't officially speak for Decorum, even though he kind of lists me as somebody there for advice. It's an incredible platform. What he's doing, and he already has the basic algorithms pretty well worked out. He's implemented just the proof of concept, ready to rock on the rest of it as soon as the APIs are in place. But listen to the 2 podcasts we've done on it. But it's really neat because there are 2 things. One is he's establishing a protocol that anybody can use to interact with different applications, to do your own comment section on a website, or have your own private forums, completely decentralized, it can be completely private. You can have dead drop conversations, so all you have to do is remember some kind of random string of whatever, and you can meet anybody at that address and have a private conversation. But also the way he's designing the software is it's really neat on a web of a kind of a modified web of trust. On cryptographic webs of trust are a little bit more involved. This is a little bit more fluid, having to do with what you like and don't like, and what your connections to people are, and how much you trust or distrust those connections. That fans out so you can group and interrelate according to that. And then what's going on in the crowd sale is a way to, I won't say short circuit that, but because if people start using these tokens, the CLIKE, the coin-like tokens, to get attention of different groups, if they abuse that, people will just shut them off. And so it's a really interesting, different model of reaching in, of expanding spheres of contact. Say, well, gosh, there's got to be a community around here that I'd like to talk to about this. And when you go, oh yeah, but I don't have anybody. I'm not in that sphere, or I don't have the trust of the community. So I'm going to spend some money to go, hey, I'd like to present something to this community, either a commercial, or if you just want to use it to establish connections with like-minded people, you can get their attention and make a connection, and then build organic trust through the decorum protocol, the organic system of trust. So it's really fabulous. I don't know how it's going to work, but Harmon's thought about this really very thoroughly.
Well, I would concur with that, John. I mean, one thing I can't speak for every project, but I think one of the things about particularly the projects that are coming out right now, everybody's thought long and hard about it. You know what I mean? MadeSafe themselves have been thinking about this for a long time. Like you say, we thought that long and hard for Decorum. I know there's other projects that maybe aren't being highlighted right now, and I know the people behind them are working ridiculously hard and have for a long time. And that's the point. Just because they're not known doesn't mean to say people aren't working hard. And I mean, what I've done, I've sat here for 2 years working hard at this. So I think the really great thing is that there's been a lot of hard work being put behind it. So when this is implemented, this is what I was saying before, it really inspires me that with all the hard work and the amount of hours that's being put behind it, whether it's from Daniel SafeX right through to Decorum or whatever it is, it's just going to mean all this hard work is just that the end user is going to have a very pleasant experience, and that's what's really inspiring. People aren't just trying to just rush ideas out and just going, oh, we've got an idea. No, there's been a lot of hard work, and that to me is always just from an outside perspective, just in general life. Anyone that puts a lot of hard work into something, you think, oh, okay, this got more of a chance of working, because we live in a world where people just want to chuck out ideas on a whim, and I've never thought it's a really good way to work. I think always the best projects have always inspired me over time, always been the people. That's what I was inspired by MadeSafe. I was like, great, I love the fact they've been building it for all that time. That to me isn't a negative, that's a positive, because we live in a world where people come up with an idea, and before you know it, it's out in the world, and then it breaks, and then it's forgotten about in a year's time. MySpace, perfect example.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing about this community that I see is because of its track, and because people who are in the space are here because of the vision. They can see it. It's not manifesting yet, so it hasn't been corrupted and flooded in with all of this opportunistic, oh, well, we're going to be seeing a little bit more of that influence with crowd. I mean, you already see it. The difference between the SafeX crowd sale and the Decorum crowd sale is like, whoa, that's really impressive.
I think there's a lot more interest now that's looking at MadeSafe in general, and that's why we have such a huge influx.
Well, yeah, no, well, it's getting closer to activation, and so we're seeing a lot. We still don't see the wild, speculation, and perhaps we can avoid a lot of that craziness because of the track of like we were saying, the people that have been involved in this space I've been 2 years, and I'm late on the train, but early compared to the great crowd. But everybody who's been here paying attention and working, and now the developers that start developing apps, they're doing it with a vision and a passion that not because, oh, I see a quick profit, but because, oh, well, there's something to really be created here. So by the time it goes live, there's going to be it already, just by the nature of it, but once it really goes live with the further applications, it's going to, I don't know exactly the arc it's going to take off, but once it starts to really take off, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Well,
Hey, now Rich must have got home.
No, actually, I'm on the road. I'll
You're
probably be
still on the
cutting
road.
in and out. Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm joining in as often as I can and really enjoying y'all's conversation. So I'll just be listening in.
Okay. Anyway, that was the comment on your comment, Tim. It's that
no,
all of this passion and vision is what is real. I mean, and it started out that way. David started working on it because he had a vision
mhm.
of what of what could be, and that it's not just a. He could have gone off and probably made a quick buck doing many things and be quite well off, but he set the standard of how this goes forward. He said, "No, I've got a big vision. We're going to really change the world here," and not everybody floods to that. Only the ones that see it.
Yeah, well, on a very personal, and I've relayed this story before, that when I first, like you, John, I'm not an early commentator, but I've been around for 2 years. When the first time I spoke to David, the very first time I spoke to him person to person, and I was sat there, and I'm like, oh, I've said this before, I don't know any coding skills, I don't know Rust, I'm not one of them programmers, and he said to me right there, and him, Ross, and Nick most days listened to and said to me, don't worry, the coders will come. And it's been proven right, you know. He just
Oh
said to me,
yeah.
just come up with your idea, formulate, and that's what I was trying to sort of tap into earlier on. That okay, maybe for us who have been around this for a while, okay, we've gone through all these meetings, we've gone through many discussions, and the forums are full of all discussions. But the great thing is now, as it progresses more and more, people who want to come along now, they haven't got to go through all the steps we've got. It's already the information's already out there. So that's what's really inspiring. That if someone like myself can get up and have an idea and get it formulated. And that's what I love about the community, particularly around the forum, is gives people the ability to open up and find out contacts who will get things built.
Hey Travis, you're feeding. Oh, good. You were
Yeah,
feeding back real bad. Love to hear from you, but not that way.
exactly. But I mean, that's the great moment I'm trying to say is it's. I think unlike anything else I've ever witnessed before, that this community is one that's based around not just a bunch of geeky programmers and stuff. This is a wide community, and it's always inspired me from day one. And I think this is why I try to tell as many people right now to gain as much knowledge and wise up about what's going on around them, because not only can they just sit back and be viewers of this stuff, or they can actually participate, and that's what to me is really inspiring. And I like I said, as you were saying at the beginning, I know, David, when you were talking to Dali, we're literally step by step getting closer and closer, and it's really exciting times.
Oh, was Dolly on earlier?
Yeah, he had to take a call.
Oh, okay.
But
Maybe
we were talking about structured data alt tokens on the safe network versus the altcoins on the blockchain, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
trying to point out the huge difference.
Oh,
It's going
for
to be
very.
huge.
Oh no, it's an incredible difference, and they're completely programmable. You can do so many different things with them. The proof of work is really brilliant. I was just like, oh really? Wow. It's completely different purpose, but it's you can go buy a bunch of unminted coins that then you got to mine them.
Yeah, there's so many different ways we can do this with the
Oh yeah,
structured
if
data.
and different algorithms for mining if you want, or you want to. Oh yeah, and no, it's very exciting. I tell you, I got inspired just yesterday because I started thinking of use cases where I mean I've been digging in and doing the school podcast to basically try and wrap my head around and communicate about the different aspects of the network. But it wasn't until a couple of days ago that I went, oh, well, we could do, you could do this with it. You could take this other project that's bumping around on the blockchain or tie it to the blockchain, to the Bitcoin and different other. It's like, whoa. And if I can do that, then people with more technical savvy can really go to town. So
Yeah,
I won't tell you all about my ideas there because I'm
we
trying to
just
figure
tapped
out how to
into
make
that
it.
earlier when I was telling Tim about my crazy idea.
Oh, you have a crazy idea? I love crazy ideas. What is it?
It was about, I said, imagine if, okay, so imagine blockchain technology and ANTS. So you have two different cryptocurrency technologies. Now, we all know that made coin or made safe coin is going to be convertible into safe coin. So you're going from blockchain to safe coin on the ANTS.
Right.
And I'm saying, here's the crazy idea. What if the ANTS makes the currency work so much better that people, for some crazy idea, crazy reason, decide they want to convert their current existing blockchain currency, like Dogecoin, Dashcoin, maybe Ethereum
Oh.
coin, and switch them onto the safe network. And
Oh, to make them as altcoin, safe altcoin conversion. Oh, that's
yes,
brilliant.
yes, that is a crazy
That
idea,
is
right?
cool. I hadn't
Yeah,
thought of that one.
but
I
imagine
can think of a couple of
how
reasons.
powerful that is. That is insanely
Yeah.
powerful.
I mean,
Because
why
Yeah,
wouldn't they
Travis,
want
what?
to? Why wouldn't they want to make their transactions free after
exactly.
they do the initial put? Having it in a secured, infinite network that's always going to be up, and you don't have to download a 40 gig blockchain to get your client started.
And you
You
don't
can,
have to have a separate blockchain.
Yes, because
Now, I
SafeCoin
have
and
I was
circulating
looking
data
at
is
it
all
from
the
a different.
same.
That is really cool, but there's a reverse use case that I was looking at is the one problem that the safe network has, and it's a problem that I don't think we want to solve on the safe network, is that it does not understand time. The network as a whole doesn't get time, and that could be something that we're going to want to solve somewhere or other at some point.
I have a
And I
solution to
think
that
that
too.
I have one or two myself. But but
But
we've
every
got
time I say something, they say it's
but
crazy.
no, here's the point.
Go ahead.
No, that's that. Let me just finish, and I'll let you share yours. Now, the basic thing is I don't know. I mean, hey, Bitcoin has traction. It's got scale. It's gonna alter and modify. It's got its problems, but the things are as they are because they're not problems yet. In other words, yeah, it's wasteful, and all of these things are going to shift, over time, and the Bitcoin brand is going to stay there with the blockchain regardless of the underlying technology shifting, I think. But a blockchain is actually a very valuable thing to have, backed up by all of that security, because it is it's a timestamp. Now we can tie the safe network into that. You can take well, anyway. All right, I'll go ahead and tell my idea.
Spill
It's
it.
basically you take. Yeah, I can't help it. Anyway, I do want to talk to some people with Factum, and there's another couple of people notarizing on the blockchain and so forth. You can do all of that. You could make it really easy, because not only do you have a hash of something that you can record on the blockchain, but you can record the actual uh, everything on the safe network, and then just send a hash of some critical amalgamation of all that to the Bitcoin blockchain, and everything else would be existing on the safe network. But a timestamp for proof of existence for all sorts of things can exist at an exact time reference. Anyway, that's I thought that was pretty cool, and I think we're going to see a huge amount of motion towards the safe network for projects like that. Say, okay, well, Factum is, well, they take all of these files and then they hash, and then they hash the hashes, and then they put just a little piece of data on the blockchain. But then where is all this data? Well, it's on hard drives, or wherever. Well, what if it just was there on the safe network in a hash of the address of an immutable address was all of those were gathered into one safe network file, and then that address was put on the blockchain, that would be proof of existence for everything Decorum is. I mean, everything Factum is doing. Just poof. Anyway. Hello?
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we seem to have lost some people. It's just.
I
Anyway,
love it. Sorry, I'm staying on
that
mute.
was my idea. Yeah.
Go on. Yeah, it's perfect. I love that idea. It's fantastic, John. What was? Do you want to tell maybe John your idea, David?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I was
it's
interested in
it's
that.
really. I know I always have crazy ideas. So it's really simple. The Bitcoin blockchain is measured in blocks, right? So you have block number 31, block number 32.
Right.
So when you look at the blockchain, everyone knows that block number 32 came after block 31, right? So that's how that's
Right.
one way to look at time in terms of event. Safe network does work in terms of event. That's a previous owner and the current owner are events. See, the current owner obviously came after the previous owner, right? So the safe network understands the
Right.
events.
Right.
That's how David Irvine looks at.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it is time. It is just not a defined unit of time. So let's say for people, when we say, oh, we want this event and that event, if those are numerically organized events at the time that they occur, we actually have a system of time. We know that this event came after the previous event. So if you're looking at just events,
and that's more universal as well.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I could tell you, yeah, it's 3 o'clock right now. I mean, it's only 3 o'clock for maybe me in this conversation. But if we could say it's an ANTS meeting, that still give a reference of time, but that's more universal. We all are experiencing the same event.
exactly. So let's say when things are recorded in a structured data in terms of events, you actually have a way of measuring what came after and before certain events. So that is a different way of looking at time.
Establish a sequence.
Yeah, you establish a sequence, which is basically the blockchain. But you can actually stretch the events at the time that they occur into units.
About that.
Yeah, that was the next part.
Right.
Harman uses a proof of work where he says he can use it takes this long to create this event to happen, and that's how we can put that into the safe network. But yes, you're right.
He actually had another thread.
Yeah, it'll take some time to make sure that it sorts out. It's okay. Well, it's just exciting stuff.
What I was talking about there was Harman actually originated another thing about how to have a ledger. You basically using the safe network to establish ledgers. The problem that I see with any of that is the advantage that you have in, say, the Bitcoin blockchain is, though it's not an exact timestamp, when a block is minted, you have a definite universal, global consensus on, okay, well, that block was created within this time window of a few minutes or seconds or whenever, right? Or within that 10-minute block, and you could even then record when those, within some accuracy, when those things actually occurred. So you can establish via a blockchain like that a global time sequencing. It's a little difficult to do on the safe network though, because everything's operating in groups and independent, and there is no network-wide consensus being formed. Whereas the blockchain, where Bitcoin is establishing global consensus on some point, whereas that doesn't exactly happen at any point on the safe network because the way it's structured, so decentralized. You see the difference I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I'm saying it can still be done if everyone looks at one structured data at the same time.
Oh, I got it. Just everybody points to one.
Yeah, I'm not referring to everyone spending their own coins in their own areas. I'm talking about a one structured data that everyone has an address to, and they look at the time of events that are occurring on that structured data. And it's the one structured data that
Oh, well, that
everyone's
could
using.
be an
It's
oracle.
kind of like a universal clock.
Oh, that could
Structured
be an
data.
oracle. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yes, I know. I'm brilliant.
I just got what you're talking about. Oh, so in other words, I could become the clock of the network
Exactly.
by taking
Yep.
the feed from the atomic clock and every
Exactly.
few seconds modifying that structured data address so that anybody could refer to it any moment and get that timestamp.
Yeah, and whenever they create an event on it, they can just reference your timestamp, every time you updated it. So you can even you can literally
Yeah,
put
that's
units of
interesting.
time.
But then what's going to be happening there is that structured data is going to keep changing. So referring to it is going to keep referring to you to the present time. So how do you timestamp it? Anyway, I'm sure there's some way of doing that. That's interesting.
Well, you can do it two ways because structured data is limited in actual data space. Like I think it's like 1 megabyte. Obviously, it's going to fill up. If it
No,
actually tries to keep a history.
It's
Saying all these
it's 100
timestamps.
kilobytes.
Yeah, 100 kilobytes. So it'll obviously fill up. But what you can do is chain your structured data together, saying, okay, this will spawn the next one, refer to the next one, and it'll just keep going, and then create another one, create another one, create another one. So you can solve the space limitation of it. But yeah, it's like I said, it takes some technical savvy, but it can be done. I believe it can be done.
My head is starting to warp and twist on that one, which is good. It'll do that for a while.
That's why it's called
Gives
crazy
my skull
idea.
exercise. No, it's interesting. It's got me thinking, like, wow, how could that be? We'll have to see. But that's really neat. Having one point where anybody can point to for timestamp. It's a matter of then taking that in a reliable, unforgeable way, and proving that the copy you have anyway. That your copy of it came at the time that you got it.
Yeah, we just gotta change our view of looking at things in units of time instead of events. I mean, events instead of units of time, because units of time is just based on our own point of view. But if it's an event, the event itself can be locked down and say, well, this event actually happened after the previous event. That's why SafeCoin is network atomic, because it cannot be changed after it's been done, or you cannot look backwards. So once you have the previous owner send it to the new owner, it cannot be changed. It's network atomic. It's done. That's it. And so that's an event.
Right.
And it doesn't matter the time that we see. It's just the event itself.
I guess you could have actually one universal structured data that kept updating, and then when it started to get full, it would just take a snapshot of that and throw it into an immutable chunk.
Yeah.
That was reported in the structured data.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that we can do. That's what's so crazy about structured data.
Yeah, it would be crazy to have one network that connects everybody together, that syncs in a universal time way. But it sounds like that's kind of what Safe Network's going to be.
Yeah, MMO games actually have an MMO time. They literally have that, and it's based on the server time. And so it doesn't use your local time. Even though everyone operates on their local time, they look at what their MMO time is so they can sync up their raids. So for the people that aren't gamers, the raid is when everyone gets together to take on a big boss. And so being there at the correct time is important, but they go off of the MMO time and not their local time. And that's how they're able to sync up their raids.
I would much rather live in a world that is based on events rather than, it seems like I'm always just chasing a clock. And I'm late to everything.
Free yourself from the clock, brother. Free yourself from the clock.
Yeah. Who thought of this, honestly?
The church.
One thing
it's
I think
ridiculous.
we need to look at. Oh yeah. One thing I think that's important to consider is that I think the safe network is going to be revolutionary, but it's not going to. There's no reason to think of the safe network as the end all of everything either, because some things are going to be better for keeping time. We're going to have, well, you know what I mean? It's like maybe we can record and handle things in relationship to the safe network in new and interesting ways, but they're also still, for instance, gaming might always be best done by using the safe network to securely connect people who then do their operations off network, in another network.
Mm-hmm.
It's my thought, because then you can establish a consistency of connection and latency and high bandwidth and so forth without having to go through the hops necessary to ensure the security and so forth on the safe network. You can establish secure connections and probably some degree of a secure enough obfuscation if you want to retain anonymity. But in that those things could be ad hoc, there's no real way to get any consistent tracking of them. Like Tor is a problem because you have consistent relay nodes, entry and exit nodes, and you can, somebody who's running a few of those can do timing attacks. But with a safe network, it's going to be we're going to be able to have millions of entry and exit points for anybody who wants to establish, cross connections outside the network too. It's going to make that a whole market unto itself of who wants to be a server, who wants to be an internet service provider. Anyway.
No, I have no. Sorry about that. That's my mother in the background.
Don't apologize for your mother.
Well, she wasn't supposed to be in the conference call. She's just like wondering, what am I talking about and why am I so excited?
Right.
And,
Hey, Mom.
No, I have no reservations about that. We should use the best tool for the job, and if it works, it works. And I've always said that. I still stick to that. If Safe Network does something better, let's use that. People will use it. You don't have to convince anybody of anything. And if the blockchain is better for what do you call it, transparency, which Dave Irvine has repeatedly stated, then they'll use that. So whichever the tool gets the job done, that's what I like doing. I really don't think that the Safe Network should be the end-all, be-all of all the solutions. But I'm just really excited that it can do so much that we've been struggling with, since crypto started, since currency started. It can do so much, and the potential is just mind-boggling.
David, the analogy I used earlier on when I was speaking to Daniel, I was saying, like, you consider what MaidSafe had built is a catalytic converter for the car. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of over X amount of period of time, there's been a lot of components built. The catalytic converter, a safe network, that's the point. It's going to revolution everything, but it's not the car. It's just a component in the car, and I'm sure 5-10 years down the line, there'll be other components. And that's the way, I've always sort of seen it as the MaidSafe as is. It's just a component that makes this vehicle that's been built over a long time. And we're saying over history. We haven't just got here and suddenly we've woken up in the last 5 minutes. This has been a long push of history to get us to this point. And it's just we've just needed that one bit of the component of the car, and there it is, and there it was. There's a safe network, the catalytic converter for your decentralized database of information of how we should go into the future. And it's like you said, it's not the be all and end all. Like, we can drive cars without catalytic converters, but I'll tell you what, most people would want a car with a catalytic converter.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Because it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what really gets me excited is the fact that this network is not even live, and yet there's so many projects spawning, and there will be a lot more that come after, and they're all excited just to get on board from a network that doesn't even exist yet.
Yep.
I mean, that's just crazy I'm not speaking on like fanaticism or anything like that. I'm just saying that there must be something there if everyone's just like on board with at least the idea. Just the idea.
Exactly, and I'll tell you something else, David, as well. And this is on a completely on the same thing. We're going to have the coolest soundtrack, the coolest movies, the coolest books. That's the great thing. They can all go with their, their music, that sits there and plays in malls, and they can go. But the great thing about what we're coming along is this is the one thing I don't talk about a lot, but for deliberate reasons. But there's so many creative people out there that that's what gets me up every day of my life, thinking, I can't just do this for myself. I've got to do it for the amount of creative people that knock on my door daily and tell me, look, man, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it. And when this actually happens, that's what I'm saying. It's going to shock a lot of people because we maybe know what's, and we understand. But when people are going to, the transformation, however it happened over a space of a year, 2 years, whatever it may be, but it's just going to shock people that the amount of people out there that, like you said, David, are already excited by it. And that's what I'm trying to say. And then I've never had it from day one, me telling people about the Safe Network and about what a platform that's going to be able to put your music up and stuff and your creative stuff. Man, it's like pushing an open door at wind. They're just loving it. So that's what's really exciting. It's the right solution for the right time, and that's where you're seeing this. Things are just synergizing and you see it all around. That's why I think what we discuss at times is bigger than just the Safe Network. I'm seeing this in everywhere around, and I think it's just it's just another part of the tool of where we're going as a species. But that's a whole other conversation. I know I tackled it a lot. I know Jim talks to start. He's starting to tackle it in his technology and choicing, because these are the bigger questions that I think we're going to have to start ask over the next few years. Because whole point of IC of this decentralization is a real bigger question about how we have all been bred, for want of a better word, in how we see the world. And the thing, the Safe Network, as we said before, is the open ocean. And hey, with that comes great things. And we talk a lot about the great things, but equally, it's going to be scary for a lot of people because they don't know anything other than just sitting in a boat and being shepherded through their life. But anyway, I'll go off on a tangent. But the point I'm trying to make is the momentum is there and the synergy is there. And I think if you just take a step back, you sort of think, yeah, the Safe Network, when like you said before, David, it's just another step along the line, and it won't be the final step. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning, and that's what I love about the Safe Network. It's going to be the platform for a launch pad for a whole new future that, wow, it's going to blow our minds. It's already starting to blow our minds, and I think this 20 years down the line, it could be completely different. Like I said before, the caterpillar to the butterfly. One doesn't recognize the other.
Yeah,
it's a pivot point.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question for Travis. How are you going on your projects, Travis?
Going very good, but I think it was David that said earlier there's a whole lot of work. So I've been spending a lot of energy, most currently, just trying to formalize a plan to fund bringing in a whole lot more talent into the projects to get things done quickly. Because it seems like, once the door opens, the wind's gonna come in hard and fast. So I want to have as much cells available to catch as much wind as possible. So
shoot me an email. I'd like to talk to you. I have some ideas we should talk about.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I've got David knows, everyone knows there's various projects that I'm communicating with other people in the community about, and out of just necessity, I really like the idea of crowdfunding, and I'm excited about it, and that's kind of taken a front seat on some of the stuff just because I want a good foundation that'll catapult everybody's ideas, including our own, forward. So
you've been talking to Chadrick?
Chad, yeah.
Chad, yeah, good.
Very, very promising.
That's excellent. Hey, I've already told him I want to talk, but he wasn't ready. But we will.
Yeah, he's pretty much there now. Well, yeah, he's getting close.
Well, we'll see where we go. Anyway, that's cool. So I was curious. You had a real. This is, I'm sure, like several steps down the line you're looking at, but you were looking at medical record handlings.
Yep. Yeah, just to give
That's
you an idea, there's a software company here in the U.S. that just signed a 10-year contract, or I don't even know if it was 10 years, with the Department of Justice just to handle their medical record system.
wow.
So they're going with their proprietary system, and this contract went for $10 billion
Wow.
just for DOJ. And and the last year and a half, I've been just polling all the people I work with in medicine, getting a feel for how interested people are in changing. And my personal opinion, what I've gathered, working in medicine and asking a whole lot of people in different areas, everybody's benefiting from a system that doesn't work.
Right.
And so it's going to take something.
You mean they have a vested interest because they're getting overpaid for doing under.
Yeah, for fixing
doing
stuff.
Less than. For fixing stuff and maintaining systems that really shouldn't exist at all. Yeah.
Exactly. At every level. And particularly the decision makers that have the hands on the purse strings, they're not interested in a free, open system that benefits everybody.
Well, that's an interesting. Yeah, go ahead. That's all right. It gives me thoughts. Go ahead.
So my own personal thought process in this is, well, I'm not gonna get the goal of getting a good, solid, free, open, secure medical record system for the world out in the traditional lines at all. And I think a smaller, more manageable, that can be put to proof of concept and successful quicker, those projects to kind of prove the way of how it can be done, and then at the same time build up enough resources of what it's going to take to actually put a system out there to compete with everybody else.
Yeah, well, you also have that when you wade into that within the existing environment, you're up against all sorts of compliance things and so forth.
Exactly.
And compliance is just not going to be interested in an open source,
nope.
Free for all. I mean, even though it's better and more stable and whatnot, they can't. They can't prove it. And so that's
now the VA does have probably the most expensive, biggest medical record system project in the history of mankind. Since the 70s they started it. They've spent a couple $1 billion in developing it. It's all open source, and so it is there to disrupt. But what it's going to take is to take all that top level software that they've developed for 40 years and get it to run on a serverless system. It is possible. They started out that medical record system in a decentralized way. They call it the decentralized hospital medical program, and that was back in the 70s.
Wow.
And so it's all there, but it's just the amount of resources. Here we're competing with the software company that just got a $10 billion contract with just a very small portion of the government. And now it's going to be privatized and proprietary and ruined. And we know they'll never produce anything that actually benefits people in the end, sadly. I mean, I laugh, but I just don't know what else to do. But I think these much more manageable projects to prove what is capable with this whole new thought process that Made Safe and the whole community is really formulated and thriving with. It is possible, but it's down the line for me.
Yeah, it's difficult for us that have been, working with this and have the site, and we really think of, oh man, because we see how it could take off, but we have to actually, I every now and then I get a glimpse of when it does take off. Oh my God! But and it could happen at any time once the network actually proves out.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of edge cases with a lot of money that
Yep.
will be willing to go maverick and
Well,
go,
what
we're
I've
just going to
seen
do
with
something new, not
what I've
not
seen with
necessarily that.
SafeX and with Decorum, that's more than I needed personally to really shift my over focus. And my goal, I can tell you, within a year, I want to be 100% working on the safe network projects.
Oh,
And
me
I
that's
think
too.
taken,
we both share
and
that
that's
goal.
and that's taken,
I think we all.
I don't know, 20 years of working in medicine and master's degree and seeing patients, and I have a very rewarding job and successful job, but I just know I can help a lot more people putting time and energy in that, and so that's my goal. I've changed course just based on the kind of positive feedback that I've observed just with Project Decorum and SafeX and the Safe Network in general.
And just safe network in general, I've started talking as it gets closer to a reality. I've found it easier to talk to other people about it. Before it was really hard because you'd have to tell more and say, well, look, all it's going to be is here. You just download this and and run it, and you can have completely private, secure storage that lasts forever, that nobody can ever take from you, and you run the stuff on your machine and you get paid for it. And they go, oh, really? That sounds interesting.
That sounds like a nice fairy tale.
But they can see it. They can see that there's a reality to it. Especially
Yep.
those that have known me and know I've been working on it for 2 years. They go, "Oh, well, that's what you're working on. That sounds pretty cool." Because
Yep.
they can. As we get closer to actually, well, hey, we've now got the launcher. Hey, we can kind of see some, and that's just a vague shadow of what we're going to see. But once vaults get out and stabilize and the network goes live, it's going to be very easy for me to promote to people and say, hey, look, download this,
Yeah.
run, check it out, store some data on there, earn some SafeCoin. Hey, if you don't know what to do with your SafeCoin, I will pay you cash for it. Just let me know and I'll come around
Yep.
and buy it from you.
Yep.
It's like, so you can
Yeah.
make money and I'll fund it, So have fun.
And that's just
So the uptake is going to be pretty rapid.
Yeah, and the financial resources will be important in the initial projects, just because getting coders and programmers to give up their, six-figure incomes to work on this new project, they're gonna need that initially. But boy, when we have that sudden shift and surge of talent, so not even, the dollar sign, sure, but I think the surge in value of just the amount of high-level thinking minds that are starting to put their time and effort into it, it's beautiful. We're already seeing it, and
well, for instance,
that's exciting.
the Decorum crowd sale is going well enough to where Harmon can start to look at hiring help. At least on a contract basis, if not longer term. So that's opening up, and I think that's just gonna snowball in general. Because we all actually understand the overall what we're looking at, and we start with small steps, and that's fine because initially we get the people who get the vision, not the people that are coming into it to make a bunch of money, and that's the kind of talent we want. To say, well, okay, I'll take a little pay cut because I can see the future benefits to mankind, and if I get in now, I'll probably be in a position to make $1 bazillion from it. Well, that's fine, but that's the speculation is on the speculation is not on, oh, I'm going to go make the money. It's like, oh, I see that this is such a potentially huge impact that you almost couldn't help but make a lot, by I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do anything with the network, except
Well, you
I'm
already
here
are.
talking about it because I love
You're
it.
bringing in the talent, and you're making it easy for them to get up to speed quickly. What you've done,
Right. Well, I just figure
is huge.
if if I present value because of my passion, eventually, well, it's paying off in the moment. Hopefully, it'll result in something in a way
Yeah.
that I can have enough sponsorship to
A
really
return.
to do it full time. To do it full time and make it. But we're still so early. We're still so early. You just
Well,
just keep it going because it's so much fun. And then the
well, I'm
Technology and
lined up
Choice
to buy the
podcast.
the Ferg the
Whoa.
Ferg token. I'm ready to buy today. As soon as
Well,
it gets launched on the SD.
Well, I'll think about that.
well,
I will consider that. Now, I hadn't thought about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Start
could do
working on the
it.
name.
I could do
Call it
do like the
simple token.
Tatiana coin.
Simple token.
Exactly.
Simple
Yeah.
token.
It's just like that.
well, look, the chat. So I don't want to put a dampener on this, but I've got to wrap this up because I've got places to go on a Sunday night. So, just on that whole general one, and while you're all particularly here, and it's not often we get all and everything. I particularly want to put a big shout out with what like I said before in part one we were talking about it as well in the beginning of this. I'll be dropping the crown sale, the seed sale for N99 within the next 7 days, and on that kind of thought process, I really want to put a big shout out to everybody, all of you in this conversation, and particularly Rich, because Rich has been flying this flag with me since 2 years ago. So I just want to put out there because it's kind of what you and Travis were just discussing at the moment, and I say this often enough, but it's the inspiration of people around and the people and the real people which we're talking about that have got to this point and inspired me personally. So I just want to say I've had a lot of, and I think this is one of the things I think why I'm more happy to say in a public forum is, as I said before early on, that all these projects, including myself, and I speak personally, this should be, all I hope for is that serves as a leading light for people to go, look, anybody can come up with an idea and think about it, go through the normal process what you have to do, and then go to the community, and then you can get to the point where you can go out and these things can get built. So anyway, I just want to say it's a big thank you because I know I've spoken to you all individually, and you've all honestly shaped and helped me a lot in what sort of my plans for what I'm going to be doing next week. And like you would both just the saying, it's the time is right and the time is now, and it's about putting these things out there. And as you said quite rightly, John, none of us are driven by financial motivations. If I was driven by any of us were driven by any financial motivations, we wouldn't be doing this. We,
Right.
we survive by donations and tips alone. But that's the great thing about the world we're about to build. So, man, it's been, we've had kind of a part one and a part two tonight, and I want to sort of thank Daniel as well, because Daniel has been a driving sort of force with me behind me. He's going to do a real big team with what we're going forward. So, but to all everyone here, and particularly I say, Rich, and particularly you, man, because you stood with me for 2 years on this one. So, like I say, I'll be putting out more this week, but for all the things that's going on this week.
Deb is heading into England on Tuesday, and I don't think she's going to head up your way, but I met some here in town, a good friend of mine, and so I have a place to stay that's north of, I think, Edinburgh. And also, so anyway, I haven't forgotten about heading out to see you, so hopefully that'll come within the next half year. I thought it was going to be this month, but I can't make it out with Deb this time. But, if she gets up near your area, I'll call you and let you know.
Dude, I've always said this before. There's going to come one time where we're all going to sit and have the N99 festival, and we're all going to be there, and it's going to be everything, and it's going to be the world's first decentralized festival, and we're all going to be there, man. And I can't wait for it to all meet up, because it always strikes me as a bit funny, really, that we have all these conversations, and I think it's the essence of the safe networking in general, that none of us have ever met. I've you know what I mean? Well, I'm looking forward to that. I get to see you all in person. I don't know. John could be a 6'5" giant for all I know, and Rich could be a 5'4" midget. I don't know. I just see faces on the screen. But anyway, like I said,
Tim, did you give a specific time you want things to launch?
I will be trying to be kind of like kind of keeping. But yeah, this week, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you in private. But I just want to give I've got
Sure.
two dogs there.
Well, I want to put a shout out if anyone has some HTML talent and they want to hop on the GitHub and start working on. It's GitHub/network99. That's one of the N99 GitHub repositories. There's many, but that's the one I'm kind of playing around with the website, and I've threw up some templates. I'll work on it every second I've got, try to get things ready to help out with the launch.
Cool.
And that's actually something that you guys should be talking to me about too, because we could get you help the crowd know what you're talking about.
Perfect.
We can get the word out.
All right.
Well, like I say, man, I've got places to go, and from over in Scotland, and it's been again another insightful and inspiring week. And to use an analogy that David's used to me before, the Safe Network has started to blink, and I'm really excited for the the little baby steps we're about to go into. And keep your eyes on it, keep your eyes on the forum, because I think we're entering some very exciting days. Well, for me in Scotland and from everywhere else in the world, man, life is people.
Adios,
Life
all.
is people.
Later.